Alexa, what's the temperature outside?
In Auburndale, it's 30 degrees with cloudy skies. Today, you can look for mostly sunny weather, with a high of 36 degrees and a low of 27 degrees.
Of course, the one day I try to use this as a transition to my video, it's not that cold. Cold testing in endodontics, as you know, is very important. It's important because it kind of helps determine the health of the tooth. Now we call it vitality testing, but what we're really doing is more of a sensibility testing. So we're testing the nervous system of the tooth rather than the vasculature, which is really what we want to be healthy in a tooth, not the sensitivity of the tooth. It's not to say that cold testing is not important in endodontics. It's actually a very important diagnostic tool. But what's important to keep in mind is that we can get a sense of the tooth when we cold test, but it's not absolute. I call it more of a hint, another set of information for the clinician to determine the true condition of a tooth. We don't know for sure. A cold testing is not absolute. It's one of many things that we should look at to determine what's going on with a tooth that's either healthy or problematic. As far as tools for cold testing, you have the refrigerant. One of the more popular brands is EndoIce. But besides the refrigerant, these are the more common tools to apply the refrigerant onto. So number one is the cotton swab. These are popular because it's convenient, but the con side of it is they're super dense. They don't hold the refrigerant, the cold very well or very long. The second are cotton pellets. The convenience factor is that they're pre-made to a great size to absorb the refrigerant, the cold, but at the same time, I hate it when they have clumps of them together where it's difficult to separate. You grab one, but you really grab 30 of them. The third, which is my favorite, is the cotton roll. It's present everywhere. Not a lot of places have cotton pellets sometimes. So you can make your own cotton pellets from cotton rolls, and you can kind of customize the shape and size of your homemade pellets by just using some pliers to remove your own pellets from a cotton roll. Now my favorite is the cotton roll just because it's everywhere and you can make your own custom size and it absorbs really well like a cotton pellet. Now with a young tooth and the pulp chambers are wide open, really any of those three methods will work really well, but how about the ones with crowns on them or the teeth that are older with pulpal obliteration? Those are the ones where you could use some of these next few tips to help you with cold testing. So the first thing is to use my favorite. You can try it, but I think it's gonna be the most useful and accurate for you. It's either a cotton pellet or for me, I like to use a cotton roll and make my own cotton pellet. So with this absorbs really well, and I take it with pliers to hold onto it and then take the refrigerant like EndoIce and spray a good 3 or 5 seconds. What you want to see is some frosting at the tip of your pliers, and that's when you know the pellet or the piece of your cotton roll is cold enough, and then you can apply it to the tooth. Now, the question that you want to ask next is, where do you apply it on a tooth? In general, to keep it simple, just imagine where the least distance between the external tooth surface and the pulp is. So it's not typically the incisal edge of the anterior teeth. It's not typically the occlusal surfaces of posterior teeth. So the closest distance from outside to inside is typically on the buccal or palatal. So we just do it on a buccal in general. That's how I do it because of its convenience of access. You look at teeth and you can see it with direct vision on the buccal. And I typically apply the cold on the mid-surface to the cervical surface of teeth. So as an aside, cold testing with crowns are difficult and with calcified canals, but the other conditions where you have to be really careful about your results of your cold testing are immature teeth and teeth that have suffered from trauma. Those can really get some inaccurate testing, and I would recommend doing multiple controls, testing maybe in multiple appointments, and use a different source like EPT as another source for your diagnostic. In general, cold testing, again, is not a black and white answer. It's a hint to what's actually going on inside the tooth. But in the video, you might have noticed that the spray came from upside down. So I'm at home. I don't have EndoIce readily available, but I actually have this dust destroyer where I kind of blow out the dust on my keyboard or other electronics. And I was doing research in preparation of this video, and it turns out the solution, the liquid inside of this is the same as a lot of those name brand ones made for endodontics. It's all some sort of fluoroethane. These are compressed gas into the bottles to where they're liquid form. Otherwise, if you just have truly compressed gas in here, I mean, all the gas will be released in one blow. So in order to have any reasonable amount in a canister, you have it compressed enough to where it's liquid. Now you're probably wondering, well, with EndoIce, when you spray it, it is much colder than this. But for some reason or another, when you shake it and you put it upside down and spray it, the end result is very similar to EndoIce. So it's not like I'm recommending that you start using this. I just use this for demonstration purposes for the video, but I am curious what the temperature this is compared to EndoIce. EndoIce is around minus 25, minus 30 degrees. This has to be close because the way it comes out, the way it feels is very similar. On a final note, if you don't have anything else but these cotton swabs, what you could do is take some cotton pliers or some forceps and kind of just grab the tips to fluff it up. This will give it a better ability to absorb the refrigerant, but at the same time, the downside is it gives you less control on the location where you want to apply it.